Most artists are made and not born. Such is the case of Terry Fasset. Before getting involved in musical theater, Terry was a dental hygienist, a teacher of the same, and then took on real estate and made a success of that. But when her daughter entered college, it occurred to her at 44 years of age, I think I want to be a lawyer. So Terry did that, and she actually represented some high-profile cases. But through all of that, she had a keen interest in the musical theater. And that drove her to get very involved after she attended, and I want to say this right, the American Conservatory of Music in Chicago, where she studied voice and piano. And from that, she got involved in community theater. She traveled in Texas, in Chicago, Texas, and Florida, touring, singing, and in each city, she got involved in theater. And it became a real passion for her. What we want to talk today about is Terry's wonderful career in theater, but we want to focus on Laguna Woods Village. I want to ask you, Terry, what was your first experience with theater in Laguna Woods Village?
Well, I think the first one was Hooray for Hollywood. That one was Beverly Bremers. She directed it, and it was a cast of thousands, and it was a musical, and I edited the music, assisted, rehearsed people. It was a ball.
And I know you got very involved in Theater Guild after that and eventually became president, but in the meantime, you really pushed the Theater Guild group forward in the theater. And we're very grateful for that, because I think that's why we have such a big membership today. And Barb, let's talk about the other show, the next show, which of course you got involved in.
Right, and that was Odd Couple, the female version. Terry had done this in Chicago or Texas?
In Florida.
In Florida. She produced, directed, and starred in it as the Felix, Olive Madison, the Oscar Madison part. And I was lucky enough to be cast as Renee, one of the Trivial Pursuit players. In this version, it was Trivial Pursuits with Women versus Poker for Men. Ironically, Terry came to Laguna Woods Village about a week and a half before we did the show, You Can't Take It With You. Bob was president at the time, and we got this email from somebody named Terry, and we didn't know if it was a guy or a girl, right? And she showed up, she called Bob and showed up at the rehearsals for You Can't Take It With You and pitched right in, helped with makeup and dressing and all that right away.
It was fun.
And then, again, then she did Hooray for Hollywood with Beverly, and then Oi.
The next Love Sex, which is the show that I got involved in, which was really fun for me. I'd only been living here 3 months when the auditions took place. And I just remember how fun the auditions were, because you never made anyone feel like they couldn't do it. You know, that's a big thing, Terry. And you always made them feel confident, and that was such a great experience. But tell us how you got the idea for the show.
Well, Love Sex and Laguna Woods Village came to me, the plot, which was a couple having issues because the husband played too much golf. That came to me from my own personal experience. And then Cupid and Cupid part was, Cupid and Cupid were having their own marital difficulties. And so that's where I got the idea. The title came from Love, Sex, and the IRS, which I was in Florida. It's another play. And I thought, why not make it Love, Sex, and Laguna Woods Village? And it was about all that. And that's how it came about.
And there were like 50 of us in the cast.
Oh yeah, it was
And
huge.
there was 52 segments, and the show was done in 2 hours, so it was like a little miracle show. The funniest part, and I know we talked about this, was that nobody really knew what the show was about because we all rehearsed separately, which gave everybody the chance to really rehearse. And then finally, 2 weeks before, we found out.
We put it together.
We put it together.
Yeah, no one knew. people kept begging me, give me the script. No, I will not do that. And so they had to wait. And it was a lot of fun when we all came together. We were our own audience.
The other wonderful part of it was it's one of those rare things when it was so popular that we had to do it again.
Yeah.
We did it in October, and Terry got so much heat from the Village people saying we need to do this again, and so we did it again in February.
It was a big, big fun show.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And as Terry always says, if you put sex in the title, you'll sell tickets.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And we sold a lot
Don't give
of
our
tickets.
secrets away.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Did we pinky swear on that? I'm not sure.
So tell us about Oi, because that was the next show.
Oh, yeah, Oi. Well, Terry got a script called Oi. It was
Oi.
It was a book, and it was a lot of the scenes that we took were from Oi. But then we added a lot of stuff, classic comedy skits from When You're in Love, the Whole World's Jewish, and classic Stiller and Mara, and kind of mixed it all up together with how many characters in that play? Probably about the same.
It was
But
close.
same,
50.
It
yeah.
was 30, 40,
There was
50,
some
something like that.
hysterical
But
bits in that
at
show.
that time, you had already been diagnosed with ALS.
Yes.
So we had a lot of different directors. Bob, my husband, was one of the directors. Sheila Bialka was another director.
Benji Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Sue Brown
Yes.
directed one.
I have a friend of mine who is Jewish who works in Hollywood. She's worked in Hollywood for like 50 years. Bit parts, no big star, but she's really involved with Hollywood people, film people. She enjoyed it so much that she emailed me and asked me, can you get me any of these skits? Tell me where they came from. She wanted to use them in one of her...
Where'd you steal them from?
And she's Jewish, you know. So but she didn't know all the resources. So I was able to do it because we had a lot of that material written out. Eventually, we did.
Yeah, eventually.
Right. And,
Yeah.
But she gets involved in teaching and all kinds of stuff. So she wanted to use those bits, and I thought that's a real great compliment.
Let me add something about where things come from. We had one bit in Love Sex, and Barbara Captain, who has since passed away, she wanted to be in that show. And I said, Barbara, you can't really walk, and you're very unstable, and you can't memorize.
Great combination.
Okay, and you have a heart condition, so you can't run around. And so I was really puzzled. I wanted her in the show. And so one day, just out of the blue, my sister Wanda sent me an email with a funny story about men and women. And it was perfect. We rewrote it for Barbara, and she brought the house down every night, standing at a podium, reading the story. And she had wonderful, expressive eyes. It was fantastic.
It was just
But
fantastic.
that's where you get stuff. Wanda, who knew?
I want you to tell me about where you got the concept for Grandparents' Revenge, the musical.
Okay, since I had ALS, my daughter and her husband, very sweet, very generous, said, come and live with us so you can see the babies. So they redid their whole garage and made a beautiful approach. We went to live there and got to see firsthand how today's young people raise their kids, what the concerns are, and what the kids are like. It was a no-brainer. From there came Grandparents' Revenge.
And then the best part is they were all in it.
And we put them all in it.
They were all in it.
The
And it
kids
was
in the show.
the kids and the parents and all the bits about how they were bringing up their kids. And one of the scenes, of course, was a pool scene that most of us just didn't like. We got to tell you, Terry, we just didn't like it. It was so silly. We thought this is never going to work. And the beauty of it was that once, and of course you were, as you always are, determined that this was going to be in the show and it was going to go a certain way, which you directed. And the amazing part was the audience went nuts. They absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it. And we ended up all loving it too. I mean, it was, we realized that we needed to bow to the expert, not our own thinking.
This pool is made for walking.
This pool is made for walking. I'm telling you, it was wonderful.
And we got to be in that, you and I, Sandy.
I know.
We got to sing
We
it.
are lucky we got to do that bit because, it'll live on and DVD, right? Great. Well, this has been a real experience, Terry, but we know you and we know your wonderful mind, so we know the best is yet to come. And even though you thought Grandparents' Revenge was going to be your last hurrah, you've got another idea.
I do.
Are you going to give us a little preview about that?
Think of the word siblings.
Siblings.
Just think of that word and all it means. You'll
Okay.
see.
Oh, I can imagine.
Barb and Bob will have to do it again with me.
Well, yeah, it was ironic. We were a year ago, almost to the day, at Terry and Don's having dinner, and we were talking about shows that she'd done, and kind of like we were reminiscing like we are here. And Terry says, I think I've got one more show in me, but we better do it fast because I'm going to die.
I want to thank Barbara Powell and Terry Fasay for being with us today. And thank you so much, Terry, for enriching our lives and making it a lot more fun to be in the theater in Laguna Woods. We're here at Clubhouse 5, and we're here for two reasons. We're here to honor the Theater Guild, and most of all, to honor Terry Fasay. So, Margot, you did how many seconds to Broadway, or whatever it was?
I think it was Give My Regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Right.
Okay, that was the show. And what did you do in that show?
Well, Marge and I had worked up a routine. We had made some dresses and got our wigs together, and I was Marilyn and she was Jane, and Terry just ran with it and taught us all the same dances from the movie, and it turned out to be a great show.
And you obviously had fun.
Oh my God.
But she let you create it, though. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
then directed you from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had started it, and then she came in and said, okay, now you got to do this again and get together. And she made us practice and practice and practice.
And it was
till we
perfect. In
had
the end, it was perfect.
And that was the thing about Terry. She would have you rehearse a lot, but maybe not for long periods of time. And I
Right.
thought that was a great thing to do for all of us.
Exactly.
I think it kept the energy going. Hey, Evelyn, tell us about your experience with Terry.
Well, I remember Terry when she first started with Theater Guild. She came from Florida, and I think we were all very impressed. She was beautiful. She dressed beautifully. She sang like a bird. I mean, really gorgeous. And I wished I was Terry and that I could look like Terry and dress like Terry. And she was absolutely wonderful. She put our club together. She made it what it is today. And I can't imagine us without Terry being a part of our club and getting us all to act in unison at that time.
I think I was in every one of Terry's shows, and I always wanted to be in every one of her shows because she was so good. I mean, not only was she a writer and a producer, and her husband's a sound man, and I mean, their whole life was theater, but she was so good. And she's also an attorney when she helped us out with our Theater Guild Club. And when she became president, our membership just shot right up. She just she inspired me to be the best person that I can be as far as an actor. I wanted her to be proud of me. So we worked really, really hard. And I think everyone here feels the same way about her. She was just an amazing person.
One other thing I wanted to ask you, because I'm pretty aware of this.
Yes.
I believe you had never done anything on the stage until you moved here.
That's right. 13 years ago, I went to a class, there was an actor's class offered, and I thought, oh, that sounds like fun. So I went, and that was it. I was hooked. And then I was in everything, and I've just been...
And you still are.
And I still am, and I love it. And the thing about Terry is she was so even-tempered. She was fun. Even if she swore once in a while, we all cracked up because she had her own words. I don't want to say them, but, I mean,
We all know them.
we all know them. And it was just, she had a really easy temperament, and she's great.
Joni, I'd love to hear about how you met Terry and got to know her.
Well, I was in a few of her plays, but I got to really know her on the board. And she was when she was president of the board, she not only led us and increased our membership, as Eveline here said, but she led us in a different direction. We actually incorporated into a business. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing.
I want to talk to what we affectionately call a newbie. A newbie is Stephen Hall, who had never been in one of Terry's shows. And he was in the last show, Grandparents' Revenge. So I was very happy that he's here and can give us his perspective. So tell us how you felt being in Terry's show.
Right, I'd heard so much about her. I didn't have the honor of knowing her like most of these people have, but I have one word for her, trooper, because I met her when she was challenged with her illness. But for her to overcome that and to be such a strong presence was very inspiring to me. And that's what I'm taking away from that. I had a wonderful time in the show. She was a good director. Her vision was perfect. Her directing was concise. But I'm taking away her humanness, how brave she is, how courageous she is.
Gail has been in Theater Guild for a long time, too.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened when you met Terry and how she impacted you.
Well, Terry Fassé, what an indomitable spirit. I came out of hiding to work with her and give my regards to Broadway. And we had such fun. And it was like a family because we rehearsed so frequently and so often in our little groups that everybody that was associated with us at that time really got to know each other. And it was like a family. And it was great fun to do. Terry was highly organized. She would give us all tapes of what we were, CDs of what we were singing or saying. And the show came off just really well. And we had a great audience. And it was such fun. And Terry is amazing.
We're going to talk to Sue Brown. And Sue not only has known Terry for a long time, but also had onstage and backstage with
Yes,
Terry.
that's right.
So tell us about that.
Well, she was very organized. Backstage, she was ahead of the curve. You knew that she had your back. It fit with the way I like to work backstage in an organized way. So it was a wonderful experience, and we got a lot of things done well.
And I know you did a lot on stage as well.
I did.
Some of the comedies, and you did a very long segment, I think it was in Oi, which was a challenging one because you had a lot of lines.
I did, but you know what I remember is The Odd Couple, the female version. It was my experience of everything that everybody's been saying about how she is so supportive. At the table where we were doing our act, she comes and finally sits down next to me, and with her big self playing against me, it rose me up to a gear I didn't know I had. And I have to say that it is such support. It says, come on in here, you can do this. And she was someone who saw me. She could tell I had comedic talent when I had no idea. And it said, when someone sees you, it says, don't listen to what's in your head. Listen to what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you the truth. So it gave me the courage to tell Barbara Powell, who runs Food, Friends, and Fun. I hope I can say this now.
Yes.
And I said to her, I've always wanted to do Ernestine. I would love to do a character. I never would have said that because I was always so shy. So thank you, Terry, for seeing me, seeing our club, and for all of your talents, and for being your funny, honest self.
Beautiful. And now we're going to talk to Carol David. And Carol has had the real backstage with Terry, but also some of the great reflections about her. So tell us, Carol.
Well, I was backstage and worked backstage with the crew. And for Female Odd Couple, we were all there for dress rehearsal. And you have to, this is showtime practically. And Terry blew us away she had drawn up these multiple printed, detailed spreadsheets with every piece of prop that we would move on stage and off stage. And here's an example. See, Act 1, Scene 1, page 40, blackout. Cleaner 1, enter downstage right, pick up paper junk in front of the table, pick up clothes on chairs, couch, coat rack, exit upstage front door. Who does that?
I don't think anyone has since.
Nobody. I mean, I save every spreadsheet she has given us, and they are phenomenal. And it made it chaotic. It made it changed it from chaos to organized camaraderie, fun, and a hell of a show.
It was. And I think another thing, Carol, because you've done so much in the theater, and you sort of felt like, I think I'm going to stay out for a while. But no, Terry decides to write another show, and Carol, as they said in The Godfather, I thought it was out, but they dragged me right back in again, right?
That's right.
So that was what was so beautiful, because she couldn't resist coming back to work with Terry.
I couldn't resist it. And that show as well, lists of where to put a chair, a stick of furniture, just unbelievable camaraderie, fun, and she's so funny. I mean, that I want to know all the Terryisms that everyone's heard, and we should write it up.
I think we should.
Put it in a book.
I know, and most of them are what we would call not in the most, ladylike language.
That's right.
But none of us cared, some people can carry that off. And one of the most famous things that Terry said was, "This is not a shit show." Terrific. Okay, and we have Barbara Euler, and she's going to talk about her experience, and she's had many, including, did you start with Love, Sex, in Laguna Woods Village?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about it.
Yes, my husband Jim and I, and this is all from both of us what I'm saying, as everyone else has said, she just brings so much to the table, so to speak. And it made it fun for both of us. We got to work together, and she organized the rehearsals because he still works full-time, the day job. And I think I speak for everyone here and everyone that knows Terry. She brought so much love, and still does, laughter, joy, and inspiration to everyone she meets. And I'm just so thankful that she has been and still is in our lives.
Absolutely. Hear, hear.
Amen.
For sure.
Okay, and another lady, Bubbles Yar, who has been in the shows and has much to say about Terry, I think.
Oh, boy. Terry, she plucked me out of obscurity, really, literally. We met somewhere over the walls, I call it, and she told me she was directing a play, Love, Sex, in Laguna Woods Village, and would I consider auditioning? And I looked at her, "You talking to me?" I mean, I was a total newbie. No experience, except once when I was 22 years old. I did have a good experience in acting. And then left the theater, and here I am. She got me back, but she got me back with, Terry has an essence about her.
Yes.
That's my best way of describing her. It's a smile that pulls you in, and then once you're in, she finds your weaknesses and they become strengths. She never diminishes anything about you. She makes you feel special. And I just love her, and she knows that I love her. And and also she's introduced me to everybody. I think the Theater Guild, people from the old pros, fabulous group of people, really, and sincere. Any production that I've done, and I've just done a few, they're all very welcoming. Very welcoming, and you don't always find that, I'm sure, in theaters across the country. I really don't think you do. But Terry, I love her.
Now we're going to talk to Trudy Morris, and she's got some interesting things to say about her experience working with Terry.
I started with Love and Sex in Laguna Woods Village, and that was a fabulous show. And my experience with Terry is, again, she is a wonderful person. She is blessed with the gift and ability to unlock the magical world of make-believe.
Well said.
Nicely put.
And that's what, and she appreciates whatever the little contribution you can give. And she makes you feel that you have contributed, and a lot. I mean, you know. And then I also did Oi series, and she still laughs today when she talks about my punchline in that show.
I remember.
You remember?
I remember.
She was talking about the other day. She was laughing at the other day when we were doing grandparents' revenge, and she was laughing, and about that, you know, and all that again and again. And in this show we just did, grandparents' revenge, and she appreciated it. That's all I can say. She appreciated every one of us, and everything, no matter how small a role or how big a role, she appreciates.
And I think in the end, one of the things that happened with this show was she wanted so much to bring back as many people as she could who had been in her other shows, because she has this very strong loyalty to all of us, right? And so she wanted, and she did get a big percentage of the people were back. And then we had some new people like Stephen and Mary Zolli and a few others, and they found it very inspiring as well.
Definitely.
Right.
Yep. A lot of fun, too.
We had a couple people, actually quite a few people that could not be here because they live other places and have other things going on in their lives. But we did have a couple people take the time to send us some messages for this day. And one of them comes from Estelle D'Annunzio, who's been in many of Terry's shows. And she wrote, "Terry, the first day I met you at auditions when you directed your first show, I felt a kinship. That only deepened through the years that I've known and worked with you. Your positive attitude and sense of humor in the face of all you and Don have been through shines through, and is why so many people adore you. Wonderful memories of Love, Sex, and Oi, Odd Couple, etc. Even forged a bond and a connection with you that I will always treasure." And then we heard from Judy Schluter, who now lives in Mexico most of the time, and so we do see her once in a while, but she wrote us another note. I didn't know, she said she asked that we could read this if possible. "When I think about Terry, I'm 100% sure I have never and will never meet anyone who is as special as she is." Whoops, sorry. "The things that she has accomplished in her life is amazing, and what she and Don brought to the Theater Guild is without a doubt nothing short of a miracle. It is astounding how much they both are loved, admired, and respected. She has the most uncanny way of pulling the best performances out of us. I know from personal experience, when I was sure I couldn't do it, she assured me that I could. And with her unwavering support, hilarious wit, we did it. Because there would be no shit shows, and there never was. Why? Because each and every one of us wanted to do our best for her. If there ever was a role model in my life, Terry is it. I feel she taught us how to live life to the fullest, keep your sense of humor, and treat everyone with respect. I know that I'm a better person because of her. Love her lots and lots."
Wow.
Nice, that was good. You said it all. Crabtastic, another one of her words.
Yes.